Okay, well, back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is indeed the TheDuran report, and I would say part two of the dead Russians. Now, we've been talking about racism lots of times, right? And I've said it before. I'd probably say it once again that the only nation, the only people against which racism doesn't count are the Ruskies. I mean, let's face it. You can't speak out against Jews, right? That's called anti-Semitic. Even though most Jews that we're talking about are not Semit, right? You can't talk badly about black people, although we're having dozens, if not hundreds, of different ethnicities of people of African origin. They have different color, yes, skin color, eye color, and different cultural heritage. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, but if you're a Russian, you can speak out against any Russian anyway, anyhow. How the fuck did that happen? Well, that's easy. That's easy. Because really, you can't speak badly about the minorities. And you'll be like, who are the Russians? Are they majorities? No, I wouldn't say so. There aren't so many of us, the Ruskies, left here in the world. There was some Jewish philosopher a little while ago. He's probably alive. He's probably still alive. This Jewish philosopher said that Russians will end up being the Jews of the 21st century. Now, would I agree to that? No, I wouldn't. And it's nothing to do with pride or whatever. It's just that the whole monumental structure of it is different. See, Russians are living a very comfortable life at the moment, unlike the Jews who were pushed around and kicked out of almost every country in Europe, and so they ended up being squashed into places, into ghettos or whatever. As for the Russians, I mean, well, Russia is a powerful nuclear superpower, a powerful power. I would say a super powerful nuclear power. Just keeps on living on its own. I'll send you a link of some person whose name is Joey, and his channel is all about mocking Russia this way or the other. At first I thought the guy was like sort of delusional, or probably some sort of an enemy. It turned out that he's just living in a world of his own, and mind the fact that it's not very hard these days to create a world of your own and live inside of it in this informational cocoon. For instance, you're a bodybuilder, right? You can choose yourself a set of channels that you watch on YouTube or some other place, right? So you're secure, and you don't have any other source of information. So if you're focused on something, you can razor focus yourself into it. Well, some other people, probably like me in a way, you kind of spread out into everything. Therefore, you end up knowing a little of some, and then some of little. Oh yeah, well, here it is. But the dead Russians. So the only racism, well, let's call it racism, because actually it's more about the race, the civilization of Russia, which is, it's always sort of in danger. If you grow up and you have this sort of an itch, a little tickle on the toe of being a Rusky, and and knowing the fact that things can change rapidly and boom 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 boom. Does it change for the better? I would say everything changes for the better this way or the other, because yes, you end up actually living in some secure world of your own. You know, you don't fight for the country, you don't fight for the state, you don't fight for your life, you don't fight for your marriage, you don't fight this. You just end up being peaceful, first of all, with your own self, and this is what probably we have to do. And in order to achieve this, we all got to quit drinking, by the way. Here's a little victory of my own. Since the beginning of the special operation, I quit drinking alcohol. I'm talking about alcohol. Yeah, I'm talking about completely. And it's interesting because I've been having a very long history, as it turned out. And so if you look back at my alcohol history, you'll find out that yes, probably a little less than probably 30 out of my life I've been drinking on a constant level. Not so much like, you know, socially. This is what they call a social drinker. When you can cope and manage around and have a job and make some little money around, then you're a social drinker. You're socially acceptable, let's call it this way. But this way or the other, the whole drinking theme, the whole play game has created a list of gaps in my mind, in my health. I wouldn't even say that I've suffered that much, or I could say I probably haven't suffered any. Or we don't even know. If I was not to be drinking for all of these 30 odd years, I'd probably be better off by now. Anyways, everything is fine enough. So I'm just telling you officially, this is a victory of my own. I'm a non-drinker, and thanks to my beloved second one. She's been insistent. Anyways, well, and the thing about Russians, and well, let me continue and finish on. Sometimes you will be bumping into names which are, like for instance, a typical name you would find. It would be. Who would have a Tatar surname, family name, Gubaydulin, for instance, right? And a Jewish name, Abram, okay? Avram. And like a typical Russian surname, like Nikolaevich, for instance. And this is what you would be seeing as a result of this melting pot that Russia turned into through the Soviet years. That's what I'm saying. Like racism, in the very core of it, does not fit into the Russian society, because there are so many ethnicities mixed in and working sort of together. The only thing we can sort of wish for the future is that all this mixture could be somehow working, could be somehow exposed or fitted into working for the betterment of the country. Because we're doing well enough. What am I saying? I'm just saying that the prices have risen, and if Mr. Joey, I'll just send a link down below. If this Joey man says we're heading off towards some economic oblivion, he's absolutely wrong, because the dummy is trying to compare Russia to Venezuela. You grinning idiot! Look, Venezuela does not produce and never has produced anything, or actually invested into anything but oil and oil production. They've just got nothing. They've just been, wasting the shed ton of money and Russia has been constructing this economy of its own. And you're probably talking about the Russia of 2010 or 2014, when this first set of sanction was applied upon Russia. It was not so that it wasn't actually laughable at that time. It didn't seem to be, because now that the West has applied 7 sets of a new one, and they're thinking of something even more vicious, something more destructive towards Russian economy, Russians, and the Russian spirit, and whatever the fuck you want to call it. I mean, well. Anyways, yes. There's always a gap. You have to understand that there's a saying in Russia: the thickness of the walls is compensated by the width of the holes inside the walls. And you take care, because it was indeed, once again, the Radio Report with love from Mother Russia.